What is up, y'all? This is Phoenix and DB on the still unnamed channel. We figure things out as we go along. But yeah, we finally got an actual filing. It's not a long one, but seems to be a little bit more significant than some of the other recent stuff. I think there was a transport order, which is like not a big deal. You know, they just do that ahead of every hearing. And then there was a filing by the defense just requesting permission to do like a mini opening statement prior to voir dire, which is basically, you know, just get some facts in front of these people as far as so they have a understanding of what the case is about to at least some degree while they're kind of being interviewed, whether they're acceptable jury members. I mean, I don't even know if it's I mean, it seems like a pretty standard type of thing. It's almost weird that they even made a request. I don't know. I think they're just, you know.
Who made the request?
The defense made the request just to provide a mini opening statement prior to voir dire.
I was just trying to get you to say the other word for an attorney.
A lawyer?
The way you say it, it just hits right, dude.
Gotcha. Well, you know, we've got this. Can't do much about that. All right, so getting to it. This is defendant's reply to state's response to defense's fourth motion for Frank's hearing and request for hearing for reasons detailed herein. Comes now Richard Allen by counsel and files his reply to state's response to defense's fourth motion for Frank's hearing. In support of said reply, the defense states the following. 1. On April 29th, the accused, Richard Allen, filed a new request for a Frank's hearing based upon new evidence. 2. Said request was the fourth Frank's notice filed by the defense. 3. In said request, the defense detailed newly discovered evidence, hereafter called the blocker report, that suggests that the phone that was found at the scene where the victims of the murders were ultimately found on February 14, 2017, had actually been taken out of the area on February 13, 2017, before being brought back to the area at some point in time on February 14th, 2017. Four, the prosecution turned over the blocker report approximately 14 months after the state was required to turn over the evidence. And this newly discovered evidence shows that on February 13th, 2017, one of the victims' phones were outside the area where the bodies were ultimately found. Judge Diener had a right to know this information before issuing a search warrant, as said evidence completely throws off the state's timeline of events, thereby exonerating Richard Allen.
Hey, Phoenix.
5. Was that DB?
Hey, can you zoom out a little bit?
Can I? I don't know.
Yeah, it's a little bit too big, the font.
I don't know how to do that.
Okay, never mind. It's good that way.
Yeah, I don't know how to do that. Hey, go read my tweet. You got the pages there.
Oh, okay.
5. This is important because law enforcement have maintained from the beginning of the case that the girls were murdered on February 13th, 2017, and remained in the place they were found from the following day, never leaving the area where they were ultimately found. 6. This new evidence, therefore, would show that the phone and the victims were taken outside of the area where they were ultimately found, but then brought back to the area at a later time. 7. In his response to the fourth Frank's request, the prosecution makes several assertions that simply aren't accurate or true. We call those lies. 8. The prosecutor is not a digital forensic expert, and his assertion should not be accepted as true or accurate by this court until he presents evidence and or testimony that supports his assertions. 9. Similarly, the defense attorneys are not digital forensic experts as well, and therefore the defense would also request this court to not accept their assertions as fact. 10. Rather, on such an important issue as to whether law enforcement failed to inform Judge Diener concerning evidence related to the timeline that would have indicated to Judge Diener that Richard Allen did not commit these murders, the defense would request this court to set a Franks hearing to hear both sides before making any determinations. 11. Simply stated, through the pleadings filed by both sides, two competing narratives have formed. 1. The state of Indiana disagrees with the defense's interpretation of the digital forensic evidence and the Blocker report, while 2. The defense disagrees with the state of Indiana in its interpretation of the digital evidence and Blocker report. 12. A hearing would allow the court to listen to the evidence and draw its own conclusions from that evidence, rather than believing one side or the other on these issues of quote-unquote pings and the Blocker report, as this court has little or no context concerning the facts to make any decisions, nor, presumably, the expertise to make such a decision based solely upon pleadings filed by each side. Wherefore, the defense requests this court to simply not accept the prosecution's nor the defense's assertions concerning quote unquote pings and the impact of Sergeant Blocker's report, and to set this matter for hearing where the court can hear direct testimony of state and defense witnesses subject to cross examination before making any rulings on this important matter. Respectfully submitted, Andrew J. Baldwin. So yeah, that's it. I don't know how many things I'm adding here.
No, it's fine.
I accidentally kicked DB because I did not know what I'm doing. I didn't know that was going to kick off all the guests. Maybe he'll come back. I don't know if he was really. Oh man, I forgot my banner. Hold on. Come back, DB. Well, I don't know if we're going to get DB back. Anyway, we'll get into like some of the ramifications. There he is. What's up, DB? Sorry about that. I didn't realize that was going to kick off all of the guests. It was like a
I got hacked.
Nuclear button right there. Just hey, jettison all guests.
I thought HCC got me, dude. It's all good.
Right. Gotta be careful about that guy. But yeah, I mean, do you have any thoughts on any of that?
So they're saying that those people can't understand it, and then those people can't understand it. So I guess, am I allowed to understand it? Or does it need to be explained to me in great detail?
I don't know. I mean, I think you're a little bit more technologically savvy than a lot of us. So maybe you have some understanding of this, but I don't know that we actually have this particular evidence to really examine and look at. So I think it's hard to tell, but it sounds like, I mean, this has been a rumor sort of thing as far as the timeline and whether they were there the entire time or which day.
Generally, Travis is in here, so hopefully he doesn't correct me. Hopefully I get this right, but generally police reports themselves are not admissible. They can reference it when they testify, I believe, but it does say the Blocker report. And I wonder, since, given the circumstances, rest in peace to Trooper Blocker, that maybe they, what?
Is he dead?
He is.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. It wasn't a white supremacist rebel, or it was a terminal disease that he had.
Gotcha.
Uh, yeah, so so I wonder if they're gonna be able to bring that in, the actual report itself, because no one else will be able to testify to it. But you think about, really, if he says that the phone was reporting, I think it's some of his words he used in earlier filings. What does that mean, reporting to him? Because there's a certainly different language used around those types of things, depending on the state, depending on the area, maybe the county. Different forensic experts use different language when it comes to that. Maybe he was just saying that it's reporting the historical data, or maybe he's saying it was reporting a new location, that early morning ping. So without him being able to clarify his words, it really gives the state an advantage to interpret what he said through maybe another person's testimony. But I really don't know the technicalities of how that gets into trial and everything.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think this is as close as we've gotten as like a really, really strong assertion, because they wrote it in fairly plain language that, they believe that the victims and the phone were not there the entire time.
Yeah, and I know that a lot of people are gonna say that they didn't have to present exculpatory information at the PCA, or for in the PCA or the search warrant application. However, that's true, but they're not supposed to mislead the judge. I'm not saying that's what they did here, but if there's something that's, like, wholly exculpatory that's not being presented, or, like, even had a conversation about it, that's something that a judge would look unkind on, I would imagine, because it's kind of a waste of time if you go to the next steps and there's something that's, like, wholly exculpatory that wasn't
Yeah, I mean,
presented to the
so
judge.
I'll preface everything just by, this is one of these things as far as, what information does the judge have? It's not like I get these arguments that, if it's not in the PCA, then the judge doesn't know it. Except this is judge was writing lots of other warrants for other persons, and along, in the course of that, he could have been made aware of a wide range of things, other suspects, other circumstances. It doesn't have to be on the PCA page to for the judge to be aware of it. That's not a requirement. But we don't know what he was or wasn't aware of, which is, maybe that's something that they would bring up in a Frank's hearing. That's a good if they can show that the judge was aware of these things at different points, if that's a good defense for them to not allow, the warrant to be tossed, they would have to show that, though, because right now we don't know what he knew or didn't know at all, except for what's on the PCA. But he certainly could be aware of some of this other stuff.
I think there's really no argument that he wasn't aware of certain things. Something like that, I would imagine that he would be aware of it because he's a judge in a very low population county. Um, he's he's
I
only
mean,
had so many homicide cases in his county.
the thing that's weird about that, though, is that it's not something the prosecution has levied as a, on their side of the argument, because you kind of kick it down all the way if you just say, oh, you think you got us on this, that the judge wasn't aware of this and this and this and this, but he was. Well, what are you going to say to that? That kind of just ends it right there. Like, or the vast majority of it doesn't it doesn't take care of like misstatements or lies that they put in there. But as far as anything that was omitted, you know, if you can show that the judge was already aware, like you've nipped that in the bud. But we haven't seen them state that once at all. So
Well, Big Fish asked, "Isn't it like what's in the four corners?" I actually think it is, but like what's on the
it's not
document,
an
like the judge
absolute
isn't.
requirement. Like if the judge knows from like you go like with your 10th warrant, and you don't have to cover all the information that was in the previous 9 warrants. Like the judge does know about those other things.
And then Kel asked, "Look at the stats. How many warrants has the judge denied? Is he a go along with law enforcement kind of guy?" Well, I think if you do look into that, you will find some very interesting tendencies with that former judge that make you go, not necessarily just pro law enforcement, but very
My
weird.
understanding is that Judge Diener did sign off on pretty much all the warrants related to this case without, like, the only one that there's really a question on is whether he signed off. I mean, whether he signed off on Richard Allen's probable cause affidavit, because they've never provided a signature page for that. But
See,
I think
RNMS or says that they wish there was a Diener expert somewhere. Well, there isn't one. Sorry.
did he get moved to the Caribbean?
No one in this chat knows anything about Diener, I don't think, or has done any research on him.
I've previously looked at Diener. I think I looked at him initially when this all started. He's a little bit of a antsy fellow. He immediately thought that everybody was coming for him, which seemed a little bit odd. We've got Simon in the house here. Hi, Simon. But anyway, yeah, I think that there's, when you talk about the exculpatory or the exonerating fact, you start to have a huge problem if, the murders actually take place on February 14th rather than February 13th. And Richard Allen said he was there February 13th. But if that's not the day of the murder, you got a little bit of a problem if you're the state prosecuting somebody, because those are two different days.
Oh, Luis is here too. Hi, Luis.
Hello, Louise.
All right, I'm feeling a little antsy, huh? Are you antsy about Diener? What's going on with that guy? Any update from the crowd? Somebody yell at us what happened to Diener.
Well, he ultimately he recently resigned completely without any sort of explanation, and then he gone.
Yeah. I wonder how this works. Oh, okay, I'll read this. Diener signed a warrant for the Maxwell home. Pretty sure Ellie would have had confirmed Logan was the only one walking down 300 at 4 p.m. to get that warrant. No? Can Diener let them say that was also RA? It's weird, right? Like if
It is weird. So I mean, it's weird. I mean, it's both weird in practice, but it's also weird in law as far as the bar for probable cause for like a warrant is fairly low, legally speaking. It's not, we're not talking about any sort of reasonable doubt sort of stuff. Like, they don't need a whole lot to push forward on there. And like, really, you got the issues brought up by like the Franks as far as, what are they not allowed to do? They're not allowed to lie. They're not allowed to omit exculpatory information.
they're not allowed to mislead or
Right. I mean,
omissions.
it's got to be in good faith, and there appears to be, some major questioning of whether it was, whether they did in fact lie, and that, or omit things. And I feel like the defense is pretty thoroughly documented on what points they're contesting, which you would think, you would want to then have a hearing, whether it's approved or not, but just to protect the chances of it being appealed in the future, because you don't want to clearly document things and then just be like, fuck it, and don't do it. Like, no, you want to like run the course of due process.
That's right. And we have a question. What witness is deceased? It is Trooper Blocker is deceased. I believe he passed away in 2021-ish.
Yeah, and he's not the only one, you got the polygraph examiner that also passed away. And yeah, I don't know. I think that I'm gonna have to go back as far as what Travis had said. Might be scrolling away. As far as like when someone's deceased, who can then testify to their investigation? I don't know if that maybe that
Well,
isn't
can
added.
somebody be qualified as an expert if they're providing an expert report?
Yeah, here it is. It says there's no hearsay exception for a deceased witness unless they made a dying declaration. And requirements of that are you are dying. Okay. So
Interesting.
so basically no, but that's kind of my understanding as well, is that like nobody was going to be able to testify to polygraph results. Um
Oh, no.
uh, I don't know. Like I think polygraphs typically aren't entered, but like maybe there would be some. Anyway, they can't testify to anything when they're dead.
That's true. Unless they filmed it on a video and then emailed it or put it on a tape.
Right. So that evidence might stand on its own.
Maybe they put it in a time capsule.
I mean, that would be weird. There might be the safest place for some of this evidence, so it doesn't get destroyed. But
And
yeah,
that's why I live in a time
also with
capsule.
what Simon's saying is, like yes, it's weird because these probable or the search warrants, you know, they take the same, general idea of, hey, it was this guy and he was there and he looks like the bridge guy, and then they applied it to like a dozen different people without really substantially changing it from person to person, and be like, wait a second, like do you really have probable cause against all of these people? Because if it's Ron Logan, it's not Richard Allen. If it's Logan Maxwell, it's not Ron Logan. It's not Richard Allen. It's like, and then maybe you're applying that to other, like, do you really have reason to believe that there's evidence where you're searching? Because kind of seems like they kind of
Why isn't there
seems a
more
little
about
iffy.
why isn't there more about Maxwell in some of these filings? He was like 17 at the time, wasn't he? Is that why?
I don't know if that's the reason why. I don't know. There may not have been any, like, they're there as far as, you know, if an investigation ran its course and there wasn't anything to really find, then it's understandable that it doesn't
Have we
get.
looked into the fact that Logan Maxwell's first name is Ron Logan's last name? Is that
I'm
like,
gonna go
can we
ahead
make
and
a
just call that probably a coincidence. I mean,
coincidence?
I certainly
Are
noticed
you
it,
sure?
I certainly looked at it, with my eyeballs, and noted that they were the same 5 letters.
But did you
Um,
look into it? Or
I
did you just
mean,
look at it?
I looked at it.
Yeah, see, that's the issue. I think a lot of people aren't looking into things; they're just more looking at them, and I have a problem with that. Yes,
Right.
Kel, it was the FBI that
Typically,
requested
there's
the
not
search
a
warrant.
lot of, in Western culture, like American culture, there's not really any connections between people's first names and another person's last name.
Americans don't have culture.
Well, no, I mean, we got some culture. I just ate chicken pot pie. Don't tell me about culture. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what else you want to talk about. Um, it's a very short filing. It is on the verge of being kind of a bombshell. If they're right that the murders took place on February 14th, and I do think it's odd that like early on, like some of the media narratives like labeled this Valentine's Day killings. So
A little morbid.
it is. I agree that is morbid. Um,
Maybe there really isn't that much morality to signal in true crime. You know what I mean? Maybe we're all just here observing this. We don't have to, virtue signal. I don't think.
Man, but people really like to do that.
I know, and you said yesterday you hate virtue signaling, and I definitely agree. I don't like that word either because I feel like it's overused. But it seems like a lot of people are doing that. Yeah, I have a.
I think it's odd to like to prop up like, I don't know, aside as far as true crime sort of stuff versus, you know, like, I don't know. You think there's a lot of people that take sides in true crime rather than just kind of watching it play out, which is more where I would try to be. Because, you
I
know,
see Four Pips
I don't.
here is asking an important question. He says
What's he got to say?
he wants to see my grill. I have a charbroil grill.
Oh, nice.
That's it.
What's that
A little.
for?
What? What's it for? Charring meat.
Chicken pot pie. Chicken pot pie, R&M. I made a chicken pot pie. Even though it's Tuesday and chicken pot pies are for Thursdays. Oh, sorry. I have to change the banner. No.
Oh, that is a Thursday meal. Okay. Anything else? What else is there?
I don't know. So I mean, this is. Do you think that there's going to be a hearing or a ruling on, you know, this is kind of what the judge very, very nearly did get kicked off this case. You know, the only reason that she didn't was that instead of filing the precipice, they had filed something else. If they had filed the precipice at that time, you know, she'd be gonzo right now.
If you believe that.
I do believe that it's a really straightforward sort of thing. I don't know for sure whether they would have concocted a different reason to not grant it. I don't think so, because it's kind of a cut and dry thing, and I think they're very bound by some very procedural type things. But that's what the whole precipice was about. She ain't ruled on Frank's 3 and 4. When is she going to? The Supreme Court now has documented themselves that she hasn't ruled on this in the time that she is supposed to, and it's still just sitting out here. And so now you've got the defense kind of kicking it back to the last response from the state as why there really should be a hearing. So what do you think? You think they're going to finally hold a hearing on this or no?
Yeah, I think it depends. I think. Do I think they're going to hold a hearing on the Franks? No, but are these hearings going to happen next week? Maybe. I'm not so sure these hearings are going to happen next week.
There's a little bit of a, nobody's gonna listen to me, but there's a little bit of dicey situation with these hearings. If they were to be canceled in some fashions, they're I don't know. They may have messed it up by filing these new filings today. But I don't think so. But they could be hitting that 30 days soon if the hearings don't happen, or they're already past 30 days if these hearings don't happen. So I think it's protected because there's currently a hearing scheduled. But, you know, if something were to happen with that, all of a sudden that 30-day thing applies immediately, or could apply immediately, depending on whether the hearing is rescheduled or not, and for who's causing it to be delayed. So I wouldn't rule out that this precipice, like 30-day thing, couldn't happen again in the future, as dumb as it is, because the judge should well know not to fall into that same trap again. I just don't trust her that she's that smart or like pays that close attention. So I think you really could see it come up again, because I think at this point they probably know exactly how it's going to work a lot more than before. I think it was kind of a really niche like tool that's very narrowly available, but I think that they now know when it could be available to them. Plus other people will probably be watching out too. Like if anybody sees that 30-day thing applies like right now, they're going to be told. They're going to get the heads up from like 100 different people as far as file the precipice right now. And as soon as you got it in, it's done.
That's interesting. Oh, we have Luke here with the comment as well.
Exactly what Luke's saying. Like, yeah, I think given her track record, keep filing stuff because she's not good at keeping track of this. And I don't think it's frivolous. I think they're pretty basic things that are filing, but uh, you need to start the 30 days on something new. It's not going to apply to the Franks 3 and 4 because when that 30 days passed, they didn't immediately kind of seek that relief. If it happens again, totally fair game.
She's on alert now. They kind of.
Yeah, I mean,
I
mean, it's not ideal. She should be completely alert to that scenario. I don't know what her deal is, man.
like KO said, I think generally the staff also does a lot of that, managing the calendar and reminding them.
They clearly haven't been because she's very late.
You think so? Do you think she cares what her people say to her, or do you think she maybe is a little bit?
I think that she's just doesn't. I mean, I think the it's a nickname for the relief, the lazy judge thing. I mean, I think it's literally what applies to her. Not that she's like necessarily lazy, but like inattentive maybe is probably the closest thing. I don't think that she pays attention to what's going on in this case, except at certain times where she looks at it and tries to catch up. Like, I don't think that she's regularly working on this case. And I think
they should file a mean judge motion.
Right. I mean, they essentially have. That's the biased one,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. The judge doesn't like us motions.
Well, I read about that lazy judge motion is that a lot of attorneys in a judge's jurisdiction, they don't like filing those, even though they may win, just because they want to give the judge a few days because they don't want to get the judge reassigned from a case, make them look bad over like 2 or 3 days of being late.
Right. So, I mean, there's a couple levels to that. One, a lot of times, where people are practicing law, this is gonna be your judge on the next case too, and then the next case, and like every case, like regular cases throughout the years, like yeah, you don't want to like just smack them around. And also, like, what is your benefit in the scenario? Is there really some great benefit in getting a different judge? That's where you've, like, in this case, like, clearly that's something that seems likely, that a different judge would be treating this case differently and treat the defense team differently and treat the defendant differently. But like in your regular run of the mill case, like that's not frequent. It's not frequent that just replacing one judge with another judge really has much consequence to it. And it's not supposed to. That's the whole system is designed that the judges should be interchangeable. Like that's you've got a justice system. They're just there to be the arbiter. If that's working, replacing a judge doesn't do anything.
See, Chelsea said that they should be ruling on the motion in limine.
Yeah, so the filing today is about a hearing that's not ruled upon or scheduled. It's all regarding the Frank stuff. I believe that almost everything else is scheduled for these upcoming hearings at the end of the month. So they should hash out a lot of stuff. I don't know if maybe it makes sense to hash that out before the Frank stuff, but I mean, she's already denied Franks 1 and 2. I don't know why there's such a big deal about either denying it or holding a hearing. Like, it shouldn't be this difficult. It just shouldn't be.
I agree. I think I'll tell her. I'll send her an email.
Right. Like in this particular case, there's obviously like there would be a huge, massive difference between any other judge and this particular judge. Like it's just completely evident. Like I don't know if you're not buying that, then man, like you got your head so far on the stand. Ain't no help for you, man. There would clearly be a stark difference between any other judge and this judge.
Yeah, I agree. So 23 across.
What you got?
It is a 21 across. 5-letter word, simple. 5-letter word for simple, yeah.
5 letters.
5 letters.
I mean, it could be ruins.
Simple?
Oh, simple. I thought you said symbol.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Simple.
Ruins.
I would go with plain. PLAIN.
Okay, that works. We'll find out here in a little bit. That's gonna stick around or not.
Right. Well, you might keep it a little bit. I don't know. The other stuff is. I was just gonna note that Tom Webster, I guess, is leaving the YouTube, leaving the Delphi case.
Did he say that?
Yeah,
Or were you just trolling?
No, he really said that. I think it's I don't know, vacation. I'm not sure exactly what it is. Mental health break, but yeah, he said it for a while. He's gonna take a month off here. Seems weird that it's right before there's like these hearings, and then you've also got this brand new filing. I'm sure he'll cover that. But yeah, everybody should go over to Tom Webster's channel and give him a lot of love and support. And maybe he'll pull a classic Delphi YouTuber where he's just faking about leaving, and then he comes back the next day.
Dude, I haven't seen this many people fake leave than all my girlfriends in college.
Right. It's a weird. I mean, no offense to anybody that's ever done that, the fake leaving thing, but I find it a little bit weird to like really blast out that you're leaving and then just turn around and come right back. Kind of, I mean, I think there's some psychology involved with it.
Yeah, definitely. Am I really doing crosswords, or are you just making up random questions? Oh no, I'm actually working on. I've been working on the same crossword for 6 years.
Oh,
I'm
nice.
not good at it, so whenever I get around anybody,
I mean, if you get all the answers wrong, it's not.
That'd be impressive.
Yeah, it's not helpful. I don't know what this 4-pits comment is, but I like it.
Yeah, you got to raise a cat, dude. If you haven't raised a cat, like, what you up to, bud?
Who hasn't raised a cat? I don't understand who's this referring to. Yeah, Juan Tebster. I don't know, man.
Oh, I like your profile picture there, Mandy Ray.
He's a right.
I am immune to propaganda.
I mean, some people are slightly immune to propaganda, but I think the vast majority of people are definitely not immune to propaganda. I mean, and you're definitely going to get hit with the propaganda. It's just whether you like eat it up or not.
Kel asks, "What's the word?" My guess was idiot. I thought you were calling me an idiot, Kel. I was about to tweet about you. I was about to subtweet about you.
It could be.
I could be idiot. Thank you. I'm sorry. I'm gonna undraft this tweet right now. But hey, maybe Tom's going away because he won that Twitter beef that he was talking about that he pulled up.
Did he? I don't know.
Coup de grace. Oh, I mean, I don't know. He thinks he did, so maybe he's just bowing out of it.
I don't.
And on a good note.
Was it? I don't know I don't know what the fuck Tom Webster was talking about. Just gonna be honest. Like, to some people, it seemed to make some sense. I thought it was very strange, very odd. Didn't understand like what he was talking about. Like, did anybody go after him or anything? I don't like. He's mad that they like. I don't know. He seems to be mad about mean tweets that are totally unrelated to him. And then yeah, I don't know, doing some virtue signal like manifesto. I mean, was the only way to kind of put it, but like it was
Tom?
completely nonsensical. Yeah, Tom.
Tom did a cuss?
I mean, he has, man. I hear him cuss.
Oh, I don't
He
know. I
always
used to
said he's
like
not
him.
going
That's
to, but these people. I think Travis is right there. I think there's a correlation.
oh. Oh. Oh, that's great.
I don't know what this comment means either, but I also like
Tweet
that.
me.
Tweet me.
I'll find you. He
Oh,
did a cuss.
talking to you. Okay.
Lam Sebster seems like he collected a paycheck. Oh.
I mean, it almost seems like that. Like, it is very out of the ordinary for his typical content. I think that what he does tonight is probably run of the mill type of stuff, and then he's got this one off, like, I don't know what to call it other than like a hit piece, which just seems really really strange.
Are we taking a plea deal? That's a good point for Pitts. Where's the plea deal at?
I mean, the only scenario where I'd see like a plea deal making sense is that there are other people involved, and Richard Allen is involved to a lesser extent, and he's providing the information required to then pursue justice against those other party or parties. And kind of figured that would have happened by now if that was the relevant case. So I don't put a lot of stock in the plea deal sort of stuff. Yeah, like what KO says. I mean, I don't know. I'm just relieved Joe Biden is alive, man, because people were saying all day yesterday that he was dead.
Yeah, I really care for Joe Biden, I would do
And,
my Joe Biden impersonation, but Luke might make
like,
fun of
I think
me.
it's a weird thing to speculate on. Like, is he dead? Be like, why? Because you haven't seen him for like 2 days. Like it's kind of like the baby thing where like peekaboo, take it out of your field of vision, and like your permanency doesn't exist anymore. Oh, I totally forgot it exists. Is it exist? It must be completely gone.
It's possible. He vanished.
But yeah, I don't know. And then it's just the.
Did you like that Tom said that he said the case wasn't about them? Because I seen that whole video seemed to think about was about him winning an argument on Twitter.
I don't. Oh, between me and him?
No, somebody in your chat said something.
I don't know. Tom's like not even on Twitter. Like, he tweets and gets like one like or something. I mean, it's kind of typical in a lot of the. Not a lot of people multi-platform really thoroughly. Like I think usually they supplement YouTube with maybe something. Most of it's on YouTube. Maybe they got a Facebook, but not a lot of them really engage on Twitter a whole lot.
Is that true that Joe Biden is dating Pete Davidson?
I think so. Yeah, I saw a picture of him. DB, you want to do the recap?
No, I don't remember anything we talked about.
Nobody remembers anything. That's what the replay crew is here for. Don't be mean to anybody in the chats, other creators, even if you don't like them. Besides, make an exception for Tom Webster. You can be mean to him if you want. But those just speaking generally, as far as like, there's not a whole lot of people to get a ton of engagement on Twitter, unless they're like some of the big guys like Bob or Grizzly. You know, they do a good job multi-platforming, but a lot of people that have had, you know, moderately popular YouTube channels, you know, they're not extending it to the Twitterverse all that much. The only thing I'm saying.
Who do you think is going to be the vice president nominee?
Man, I don't know. That's a good question. I kind of flip-flopped on it a number of times.
I did say earlier that I believe it's going to be Shane Evans.
Oh Lord, no.
He just kind of, you know, he just kind of tumbles his way into a good deal, you know?
He just took a new job. And,
I think he's going to be a little busy.
who knows? Yeah, but I don't know. I think there's probably reason for him to stay where he's at.
Probably my mom. That'd be nice.
So yeah,
And get pardoned for this charge I got hanging over my head.
Sort of thing. And my initial inclination was Andy Bashir, because he was also like a prosecutor, and he's also like very kind of vanilla, but I think his messaging on abortion issues is kind of counterintuitive as far as where there would be a good choice. And then I went the complete opposite direction. I think Pete Buttigieg, as far as like, man, just, you know, spark, you know, different generations and people that don't vote to get out there and vote.
Oh, I asked you because I think I'm going to make my vote based on whether or not they think Richard Allen is innocent or not.
Right. I mean, it would be interesting to get a comment from anybody on this.
Yeah. I think we have some people here that may be connected with the new candidate.
So here's an interesting question: is Tom Webster old enough? Is he 35? He probably is. He's probably close to that.
I don't know.
I think he might be younger.
I thought he was at least 23.
I'm sure that he's at least 23. I agree with you, DB.
Yeah, we got to get Kamala the PCA.
Right, she's a prosecutor. She would know what's up. Is this just is this a strong PCA or a weak PCA? Shoot us straight.
Hey, I think she was slamming papers.
$20 to anybody that can get her to comment on the PCA and its quality. This is a bounty.
Goal for VP. What would that be like? No hearings. Just never shows up to anything.
Yeah, there won't be an election in 2024. They'll just push it back to like 2027.
And then the one time the press gets to come there, she just like
that is completely not possible that he's in his 50s.
50s.
I don't think so. This is misinformation.
I don't know. Facetune, dude.
That would be really strange. Like, was he fucking shooting up adrenochrome or something, man?
Whoa, we're not trying to be that Delphi channel.
Okay.
There's enough of those Delphi channels, dude. $19 across.
So what's your take on this? Like, if there's private communications, do you think those should be fair game and just like blasted out into the public, or you think that like there should be some reasonable expectation of privacy?
It depends. Did they intercept the communications?
That's an interesting theory.
Is maybe Botox, or my theory, or Botox?
The Botox theory is interesting.
I got some Botox in my temples.
Really?
Yeah, my eyebrows were just getting a little too close together. So
Gotcha.
He's always so mad all the time. That's why I wear sunglasses.
All right, another $20 from another bounty. Whether if somebody confirmed that Tom Webster is both in his 50s and uses Botox, put a bounty on that one too.
Which there's nothing wrong with any of those things.
No,
19 across.
it's fine.
Can we get into 19 across real
quick?
I
don't know. I think it's fine to be in your 50s. I don't know that I'm a big fan of the Botox stuff. Like, you can do whatever you want. Why would you be? You have body in it. And it's whatever. I can't say the word.
He supposedly said he was in his 50s.
But like, I don't think it particularly looks good. I'm not big on that aesthetic.
Yeah. All I says he supposedly said he was in his 50s at some point. So maybe he's 60 now.
Could be
50s at one point.
I mean, there's something going on if he's in his 50s, because
yeah, Mark, I'm trying to get at that spa. I'm trying to get into that. I heard there's a lot of different stuff that goes down at the spas. I'm getting that. Yeah. That Botox spa.
See, I think that there's KO is making an interesting point here. I'm not not a lawyer, but I feel like there's something involved with the consent sort of thing. So yeah, I mean, I get where, like, one party, you have to have some level of trust with who you're communicating with, and if they want to share your stuff, that's probably not much you can do about it. But like, you have like some control as far as who you communicated with in the first place. It is a little bit concerning that none of the parties involved within the actual communications consented to it at all.
But were they interstate communications? Were they intercepted interstate communication? I don't know. But Big Fish, Small Pond, the hint is surpass 7 words. Or goddamn, 7 letters, not words. Anyways, go ahead.
No, go with your crossword. The people want what the people want. They want the crossword.
Okay, 19 across, surpass 7 letters.
Crosses.
We can move on. I think Big Fish will get it, and I'll have at least 5 things in this crossword by now.
So this is just in reference to some of the murder sheet stuff that they've been quote unquote reporting on. I believe that they were provided a group, basically a Twitter group chat that they were not part of, and that the person that provided it also was not the person communicating on that. So that would be where the concern that there was not a consenting party, in the communications.
Well, I don't think there was like a group chat.
You don't think so?
I think some of the stuff was just one-on-one. But
I'm going with how it was portrayed, because I don't know. It sounded like there was a group Twitter chat. Like, I don't know how else it would have a name. Can you do just group DMs on Twitter? Like in the regular DMs, can you do? Okay, I mean, and that would be interesting if it was, but I don't know how it would have a name then. And then, it's certainly not the way it was portrayed. So, I wouldn't put it past the murder sheet to misrepresent what they're saying.
Well, I don't think they misrepresented it. I think they said exactly what it was. These are
they said it was like a group chat, that it's in a group.
Well, I'll tell you what they said, Fiend.
Right. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I'll go. So they said that there were some messages. It's not like they released the entire group chat. Like, you could just take a little clip out of, a bunch of different messages, and then it kind of allows you to interpret whatever you want to interpret if you don't see the whole chat. Oh, go ahead.
Right. I mean, I get what KO is saying here as far as, yes. I mean, the whole account was provided access to, so it certainly did include one-on-one messages, but, from what the murder sheet has been saying, they definitely portrayed it as though there was a group chat.
Certainly.
But yeah, I have no idea. I'm not sure. I've never been in a group chat on Twitter, so I think it's doable. Like I know you can have a. I mean, there's ways to create a group. So yeah, I mean, technically, I think in that circumstance, they just be like essentially just be tweets and private tweets inside um, a group.
To
Rather,
answer Royal We, this is the crossword is from the book 10,000 Crosswords that my mom bought me at a garage sale in 1994. It's crossword number 15.
how many have you completed, DB?
I've been working on this one for 7 years.
Good job.
We're getting there.
It's a good question, Royal Wheat. Did she? Maybe she did. Maybe maybe they were given the you know the opportunity to push the button to delete the account.
Don't love that.
No, probably not. I can see somebody gleefully doing that though. The honor is yours. Some unhinged shit.
Just mean spirited, you know?
Yeah, I think pirating social media accounts that don't belong to you is, you got some concerns about people's psychology if they're doing that sort of stuff. That's
Well, you
next
got to think
level
about
type
check this
stuff.
out. Check this out. So these are allegedly private messages, right? And people were berated last night by Mr. Webster about what they said and how much it was going to affect people and how mean it was. But bro, you didn't have to release them. Like,
Correct. I think
if you
there's
thought it
like
was going to be painful,
circular
like,
thinking as far as what the fuck are you talking about and what the fuck are you doing? Like you're the one that's actually putting this out there.
yeah, which I mean, that's fine. I mean, it's clear that it's not it's not fine for me, but like it's clear that it's not some other motive that is more like sanctimonious and they're trying to do the right thing. They're just trying to dunk on people, dude. Just say you're trying to dunk. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I don't know. It does seem like they're just trying to. I mean, that's the thing where I just didn't get what Tom Webster's thing was about, because he's like, don't be a troll and don't cause beef, and then if you're the person being a troll and causing beef, like, okay, then it's about you. Like that's you. You're the one doing it right now as you're talking.
Yeah, you.
Just very, very, very strange.
You one of the 15th people. Are you the 15th person?
Well, I didn't really have too much more, so like we kind of covered that filing. I think it's interesting. I think that I don't see anything that makes me think that she's going to have a hearing on this. I'm going to guess that she's going to deny Frank's 3 and Frank's 4, and without a hearing, just as she denied Frank's 1 and 2, except that she just waited a long ass time on these particular ones. But yeah, we shall see. I think that she definitely needs to be on her toes and not let her 30 days go up, because I think there's a good chance she could get popped on that again.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts, DB?
Final thoughts are sorry, a squirrel just walked by my window. Hey, so final thoughts. Don't hold on to information that's stolen just to win a Twitter beef. Then not say that you're just trying to win a Twitter beef.
Right.
Which is fine.
All right. With that, Tom Webster is starting. I think Defense Diaries is starting, and those are creators that you can go support and or troll as you see fit, depending on your theories of cases.
I'm not getting a job at Qdoba. Take it back. Never.
He's a Chipotle.
We banned that word from chat.
Chipotle lifer. Yeah, I'll work on that.
Okay.
I'll ban Qdoba.
Are we gonna raid Tom's channel?
Yeah,
Let's not.
I'm gonna head over there.
Okay, go ahead.
So I think I'm banned from the chat, so I'm there in spirit.
I'm probably not banned. I should be. I'm gonna push the. I'm gonna push.
He loves you, DB. I think you love him too.
I like him. He's a nice guy. He's very well groomed, like I said.
Right. Yeah. No argument there.
Yes, I'll bring some burritos. Double wrap.
Right. Burritos for all. All right, everybody have a good evening. And
good evening.
We this channel still doesn't have a name, and it may or may not ever come back. So if you see a live, it might be the last. Peace, y'all.